Every single week, millions of people walk into grocery stores and pay full price for fruit that was grown in someone else's backyard. Fruit that took zero effort to produce after the first season. Fruit that comes back every year without being replanted, without being restocked, without a receipt. Grocery stores are not selling you fruit. They are selling you the convenience of not knowing what you could grow yourself. Today, that ends. 13 fruit trees, all of them container proven, all of them productive in pots, all of them capable of producing fruit that grocery stores charge real money for, year after year, from a container on your patio, your balcony, your driveway. And the one at number 8 is the one every grocery store in America hopes you never find out about. Stay with me. Before tree number 1, drop in the comments right now. Do you have outdoor space for containers? Or are you working with a balcony or small patio? Because that answer changes everything about which of these trees will perform best for you. Tell me below. I read every single one. Tree number 1, Meyer lemon. The lemon in your grocery store traveled an average of 1,500 miles to reach the shelf. It was picked before it was ripe, gassed to trigger color, and sitting in cold storage for weeks before you bought it. That is what you are paying $1.50 per lemon for. A Meyer lemon grown in a container on your own patio ripens on the tree. You pick it the moment it is ready. The flavor difference is not subtle. It is the difference between a lemon and a lemon. Anyone who has tasted a tree-ripened Meyer lemon and then gone back to a grocery store, lemon understands immediately why people do not go back. Meyer lemon is a cross between a standard lemon and a mandarin orange. The result is a slightly sweeter, thinner-skinned fruit with a floral quality that no grocery store variety can replicate, because no grocery store variety is allowed to get ripe enough to develop it. Hardy in zones 9 through 11, outdoors year-round. In zones 4 through 8, and that covers the majority of the continental United States, grow it in a container and bring it indoors when temperatures drop below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. A south-facing window is enough. A grow light makes it exceptional. Use a well-draining citrus mix. Container minimum 15 gallons for productive fruiting. Feed with a citrus-specific slow-release fertilizer in early spring and midsummer. Water when the top 2 inches of soil are dry. Not before, not after. One tree. Produces 50 to 200 lemons per year at full maturity. At current grocery store pricing, that is $75 to $300 worth of fruit annually from a single container. That math does not stop. It compounds every season. Tree number 2, fig. Brown turkey variety. Fig trees have been growing in containers since ancient Rome. There is documented evidence of Romans growing productive fig trees in portable clay pots that they moved indoors during winter. 2,000 years of container growing history, and most people today think figs only grow in the ground in warm climates. They do not. Brown turkey fig is cold hardy to zone 6 in the ground and performs reliably in containers moved to protected spaces through zone 4. It produces 2 crops per season, a breba crop on old wood in early summer and a main crop on new wood in late summer through fall. 2 harvests from one tree in one container in one season. Figs require no pollinator, no second tree, no bees required. The tree pollinates itself internally. Plant one, get fruit. That is the complete requirement. Fresh figs in grocery stores cost $4 to $8 per small container when they appear at all. Most stores do not carry them consistently because fresh figs have a 3-day shelf life after harvest, which means the only people eating truly fresh figs are the people growing them. You are about to become one of those people. Container minimum 15 to 20 gallons. Full sun. Water deeply but allow soil to dry between waterings. In zones below 7, move indoors or to an unheated garage before hard freeze. Prune in late winter to control size and encourage fruiting wood. Tree number 3, dwarf apple, columnar varieties. A standard apple tree reaches 25 feet and takes 8 years to produce fruit. A columnar dwarf apple variety grows in a 15-gallon container, reaches 8 to 10 feet, and produces fruit in year 2 to 3. Same fruit. Fraction of the space. Fraction of the weight. Colonnade and maypole are the varieties that change what container apple growing looks like. Narrow vertical growth habit, 2 feet wide maximum, means you can line 4 of them along a fence or balcony railing and have 4 different apple varieties in the space a single standard tree would occupy. Apples require cross-pollination. Plant two different varieties that bloom at the same time and they pollinate each other. 2 containers, 2 trees, years of free apples. Organic apples in grocery stores run $2.50 to $4 per pound. A productive dwarf apple in a container yields 15 to 30 pounds of fruit annually at maturity. That is $37 to $120 worth of organic fruit per tree per season, indefinitely from a container. Hardy zones 3 through 8 depending on variety. Full sun, minimum 6 hours. Well-draining soil. Thin fruit clusters in early summer. Leave 1 apple per cluster. And the remaining fruit grows significantly larger and sweeter than unthinned fruit. Tree number 4, dwarf peach, Bonanza or honey babe variety. Grocery store peaches are picked at between 60 and 70% ripeness to survive shipping and shelf time. A peach at 60% ripeness has not yet developed the sugars, the aromatics, or the texture that make a peach worth eating. You have been eating shipping-grade peaches your entire life and calling them peaches. A Bonanza dwarf peach ripens completely on the tree. You pick it when the flesh gives slightly under thumb pressure, when the fragrance reaches you before your hand does, when the color has transitioned fully to deep gold and rose. That is a peach. It exists almost exclusively in home gardens because it cannot survive a truck. Bonanza is a genetic dwarf. It is not a standard peach grafted onto dwarfing rootstock. It grows 4 to 6 feet naturally, perfectly sized for a 15 to 20 gallon container, and it self-pollinates. 1 tree, no partner required, productive from year 2 onward. Hardy zones 5 through 9, full sun, thin fruit aggressively in early summer. Remove every peach that is closer than 6 inches to another. This feels wrong. Do it anyway. The remaining peaches reach sizes and flavors that unthinned fruit never achieves. Tree number 5, kumquat. The kumquat is the only citrus fruit you eat whole, skin and all. The skin is sweet, the flesh is tart. Together, they produce a flavor combination that has no equivalent in any other fruit and costs $6 to $9 per small clamshell in grocery stores that carry it at all. Nagami kumquat is the most productive container variety. It produces hundreds of marble-sized orange fruits from fall through winter, the exact season when almost no other container fruit tree is producing anything. In a container garden, a kumquat in November is not just a fruit tree, it is the only fruit tree doing anything. Hardy zones 8 through 11 outdoors. In colder zones, container growing is actually advantageous. Kumquats adapt to indoor conditions better than most citrus. A bright window or supplemental grow light through winter keeps them productive in zones 4 and above. They also happen to be among the most ornamental container trees available. Dark, glossy evergreen foliage, white fragrant flowers, clusters of bright orange fruit. In a container on a patio, a kumquat in full fruit stops every person who sees it. I want to stop here for a moment because something has been sitting with me while putting this list together. There is a way of understanding fruit trees, how they were selected, how they were kept alive through centuries without grocery stores, how families grew enough food in small spaces to never go hungry, that you simply cannot find in any modern gardening book. I have looked. I found it somewhere else. A source so old that the people who wrote it were growing food before the United States existed as a country. Nearly 400 years old. What it describes about fruit production in small spaces, about which trees our ancestors trusted above everything else, completely reframed how I think about every tree on this list. I studied that source and wrote it all down myself, so you would not have to go digging through 400 years of text on your own. If you want to, you can check our channel store. It is there. Tree number 6, dwarf pomegranate. Wonderful variety. Pomegranates sell for $3 to $5 each in grocery stores. The wonderful variety, the same one in every store, was developed for shipping durability, not flavor. It is a good pomegranate. It is not the best pomegranate. The best pomegranates are heirloom varieties that never appear in stores because they do not survive commercial handling. Cianevi, Parfianca, and Desertni are the heirloom varieties that people who grow pomegranates grow. Softer seeds, more complex flavor, higher juice content, none of them in any grocery store anywhere. All of them available as dwarf container varieties. Hardy zones 7 through 11. In colder zones, container growing allows overwintering in a garage or basement. Pomegranates go fully dormant and require almost no care during that period. Move out in spring, fruit in fall. The cycle is simple: full sun, drought-tolerant once established. One of the lowest maintenance fruit trees on this list. Produces fruit in year 2 to 3 in containers. A single productive tree yields 10 to 30 fruits per season. At grocery store pricing, that is $30 to $150 worth of fruit annually from one container. Tree number 7, dwarf blueberry, top hat variety. Blueberries are $4 to $7 per pint in grocery stores. Organic blueberries run $6 to $9. They are among the most pesticide-laden conventional fruits tested, consistently in the top 5 on the Environmental Working Group's annual analysis. The only way to eat clean blueberries without paying organic premium prices is to grow them yourself. Top Hat is the container variety that changed this equation. It grows 18 to 24 inches tall and wide, perfectly proportioned for a 5 to 10 gallon container, and produces full-size blueberries in quantities that supply a household through summer. Blueberries require acidic soil, pH 4.5 to 5.5. This is non-negotiable. Use a blueberry-specific potting mix or a men's standard mix with sulfur and peat moss before planting. Get this right, and blueberries are among the easiest fruit to grow in containers. Get it wrong, and they decline slowly and never tell you why. Plant 2 different varieties for cross-pollination and your yield doubles. Top Hat plus North Sky. Sunshine Blue plus Emerald. Any 2 that overlap in bloom time. Hardy zones 3 through 6 for cold hardy varieties. Zones 7 through 10 for southern high bush types. Tree number 8, mulberry, dwarf ever-bearing variety. This is the one grocery stores hope you never find out about. Not because mulberries are rare, because they are unstoppable and they are free once you have a tree. Dwarf ever-bearing mulberry produces fruit for 6 to 8 weeks continuously from early summer. Not a single flush. Not 2 weeks of production. 6 to 8 weeks of ripe fruit dropping from the tree daily, more than most households can consume, from a container that requires almost no care. Mulberries do not appear in grocery stores because they have a shelf life of 24 hours after harvest. They ferment almost immediately. The only people eating fresh mulberries are the people growing them. The grocery store cannot sell what it cannot ship. That is not your problem. That is your advantage. Flavor is deep, wine dark, complex in a way that blueberries and blackberries only approximate. Eaten warm off the tree on a summer morning, a ripe mulberry is in a category by itself. Hardy zones 4 through 8. Full sun to partial shade. Drought tolerant once established. Container minimum 15 gallons. Grows to 6 feet in a container. Easily maintained smaller with annual pruning. Self-fertile. No second tree required. This tree does not ask for much. It gives an unreasonable amount in return, every year without fail. Tree number 9, dwarf avocado, Wirtz variety. Avocados are $1.50 to $3 each in grocery stores, and they arrive at a hardness that requires 3 to 5 days of counter-ripening before they are edible. If you time it right, which most people do not. A homegrown avocado comes off the tree and ripens in your kitchen in 48 hours. The flavor of a tree-ripened Wirtz avocado versus a commercial Hass that spent 3 weeks in cold storage is not a subtle difference. Wirtz, also called Little Cato, is the only true dwarf avocado variety. It grows 8 to 10 feet in a container and produces full-sized fruit in year 3 to 4. Hardy zones 9 through 11 outdoors. In colder zones, a large container moved indoors through winter keeps it productive indefinitely. Type A and Type B designation matters for avocados. Wirtz is a Type A. For best production, pair it with a Type B variety like Bacon or Zutano. In warmer zones, a single Wirtz will produce on its own. In cooler zones, with limited growing seasons, 2 trees accelerates production significantly. At full production, 1 Wirtz yields 12 to 20 avocados per season at minimum. At grocery store pricing, that is $18 to $60 in saved spending annually from a single container. The tree lasts decades. Tree number 10, dwarf mandarin, Satsuma variety. Satsuma mandarins are the easiest peeling, easiest eating citrus available. Seedless, loose skin that removes in 5 seconds. sweet complex flavor that bottled juice and grocery store mandarins approximate but never reach. Owari Satsuma is the container variety that produces in fall, October through December, bridging the gap between summer fruit production and the winter dormancy of most container trees. In a container garden designed for year-round production, a Satsuma fills one of the most difficult slots on the calendar, hardy zones 8 through 11 outdoors. Container growing extends production into zones 5 and above with winter indoor protection, self-fertile. One tree produces 40 to 60 fruits per season in a 15-gallon container at maturity. Fragrant white flowers in spring that scent an entire patio. Glossy evergreen foliage year-round. This tree earns its container space across every season. Tree number 11, dwarf cherry. Stella or compact Stella variety. Fresh cherries peak at $5 to $8 per pound in grocery stores during their brief summer window. They are available for 6 to 8 weeks per year. A container Stella cherry produces that same window of fruit from your own patio. Self-fertile, requiring no second tree, hardy in zones 5 through 9. Compact Stella was developed specifically for container and small space growing. It reaches 8 to 10 feet at full size, controlled to 6 feet with annual pruning. Production begins in year 2 to 3. At full maturity, a single container cherry yields 15 to 30 pounds of fruit annually. The critical window: cover the tree with bird netting the moment you see cherries beginning to color. Birds find ripe cherries within 24 hours and will strip a tree completely before you get a single fruit. This is the one task that stands between you and a full harvest. Do not skip it. Full sun, well-draining soil. Water consistently through fruit development. Inconsistent watering during this period causes cherries to split. After harvest, a single pruning session controls size and encourages fruiting spurs for the following season. Tree number 12, dwarf olive. Arbequina variety. Arbequina olives produce the most flavorful small batch olive oil available anywhere. Cold-pressed Arbequina oil from small producers costs $25 to $45 per bottle. The olives themselves, cured at home, are categorically different from anything in a grocery store jar. More practically, Arbequina is one of the most beautiful and low-maintenance container trees on this list. Silvery green, willowy foliage, tiny fragrant flowers in spring, clusters of small purple-black olives in fall. Evergreen, year-round. It looks like something from a Mediterranean courtyard because it is. Hardy zones, 8 through 11 outdoors. In containers, overwintered in a cool garage or basement in colder zones. They need a chilling period below 50 degrees for 2 months to fruit properly, which cold zone winters provide naturally even indoors. Self-fertile. Container, minimum 15 gallons. Drought tolerant once established, more so than almost any other tree on this list. Fertilize once in spring, prune lightly to maintain shape. The maintenance requirement for a productive Arbequina olive in a container is genuinely minimal. Tree number 13, dwarf loquat. Most people in America have never tasted a loquat. Most people who have tasted a loquat never stop growing them. The flavor is a combination of peach, citrus, and mild mango, with a honey sweetness that has no single comparison. Fresh loquats appear in Asian grocery stores in limited quantities at $5 to $8 per pound for a few weeks in spring. They do not appear in standard grocery stores at all. The shelf life is too short, the skin too delicate, the logistics too complicated, which means the only people eating fresh loquats regularly are the people growing them. Loquats are evergreen, with large tropical-looking leaves that make them among the most ornamental container trees available. They flower in fall and winter. Small, white, fragrant flowers that scent the air in November and December. Fruit ripens in late winter through spring, the exact window when nothing else in a container garden is producing fruit. Hardy zones 7 through 10 outdoors. In containers, protected from hard freezes in zones 5 and 6. Self-fertile, container minimum 15 gallons. Full sun to partial shade. Drought tolerant once established. Plant a loquat once and you solve the late winter production gap in your container garden permanently. Every year, fruit in February and March when every other tree is still dormant. That timing alone makes it worth more than its container space. Here is the calculation most people never make. The average American household spends $180 to $250 per year on the fruits represented by the trees on this list. Fresh lemons, apples, peaches, blueberries, cherries, avocados, mandarins. Every single year, indefinitely, from a grocery store. 3 container fruit trees at $40 to $60 each, a one-time investment, begins offsetting that spending in year 2. By year 5, those 3 trees have saved more money than they cost. By year 10, the math is not close. You do not buy a fruit tree. You buy a productive asset that pays you back every single year it lives. Grocery stores are counting on you not knowing this. You know it now. Before you plant a single thing, 2 rules that determine whether every tree on this list produces or struggles. Rule 1. Container size is not negotiable. Every tree on this list requires a minimum 15-gallon container for productive fruiting. Smaller containers restrict root development, reduce fruit production, and increase winter mortality in cold zones. Buy 1 large container per tree. Do it once. The tree outperforms in it every season. Rule 2. Sun is the one input that cannot be compensated for. Minimum 6 hours of direct sun daily for every tree on this list, except blueberry and loquat, which tolerate 4 to 5 hours. No amount of fertilizer, irrigation, or premium soil mix compensates for insufficient light. Place your containers where the sun actually reaches. Move them seasonally if necessary. The fruit follows the light. You just learned 13 fruit trees that grocery stores have a direct financial interest in you never growing. Trees that produce fruit you are currently paying for every single week. Trees that ask for a container, some sun, and occasional water, and give you years of free produce in return. Tell me in the comments which tree you are starting with and what zone or state you are gardening in. That answer shapes the next video I make, and I want to make sure what I tell you next actually fits where you live. If this video gave you 1 tree you are going to grow, subscribe to Gaia Lost Vault right now. Every week, we go deeper into the knowledge that grocery stores, garden centers, and mainstream gardening content have never had any interest in giving you. You do not want to be outside of that. Go get those containers, go get those trees. I will see you in the next one.